Hi, Bubs, and welcome to another episode with me. Stories with Sulaiman. 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 Today's book is called Sticks and Stones, and it's by Pierrette Dubé and Dominique Jolin. Not sure how you pronounce that, but thank you very much. The illustrations are by Dominique Jolin. Pierrette Dubé wrote it. When she was 3, Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power thought she had a pretty good name. Of course, it was a bit long, but if she took a deep breath, she could manage the whole thing without stopping. She was proud of saying it. It wasn't a baby name. Gwendolyn. La 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 la. She's practicing her name. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power enjoyed chanting her name while hopping on one foot. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power. There was music in her name. She could sing it like a song to any tune. At 4 and a half, her best friends at daycare were Mimi Murphy and Zoe Pratt. Of course, their names were much shorter. Mimi Murphy is a turkey. Zoe Pratt, you big dingbat, yelled out Jonathan Bain, the terror of the daycare. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power told herself it was handy to have a very long name. Jonathan Bain never said anything to her. Perhaps he had no room in his head for such a long name. I wonder which one is Mimi and which one is Zoe. When she was 5, Gwendolyn Morrison Power began to find her name a bit awkward. She was often making new friends at the park, the skating rink, or at swimming class. Every time they ended up asking her the same question, "What's your name?" And when she answered Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power, their eyes got big and round. The real problem started in kindergarten. "You must write your name under the picture," said Mrs. Johnston. But at the bottom of the paper, there was only a tiny blank space left. Her name would never fit. It was like putting a giant to bed in a crib, or stuffing an elephant into a glove compartment. It was simply impossible. With luck, she could squeeze in Gwendolyn Joy M. That was all. Gwendolyn Joy M. What? Teased Jonathan Bain. Gwendolyn Joy Marshmallow? Gwendolyn Joy Macaroni? And even though she answered Jonathan Meatball Lettuce Head, Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power flushed with anger. In first grade, things became even more complicated. Her name covered half her locker. It stretched like spaghetti across her homework. It filled the whole blackboard. If she wrote big, if she wrote big. On her test papers, her name looked like a train that had jumped the track and was falling over a cliff. So Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power threw a hairy fit. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can really bug me. I have had enough of this name. Just write your initials, said Mr. King, but Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power didn't like that at all. She wasn't GJMP. GJMP wasn't a kid who was about to lose her first tooth. GJMP didn't look good. It looked the same. It looked like the name of a disease. Jonathan Bain grew. His vocabulary expanded. When the girls passed by, he had to prove he was tough by yelling out new names, ruder than ever. Mimi Murphy, big and burfy. Zoe Pratt, sewer rat. They answered right back. Jonathan Bain is a pain. He's insane. Monkey brain. But he was the one who ended up with the last word. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power. To say her name takes half an hour. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power was furious. She told herself, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names do hurt me. Something must be done. Before falling asleep that night, Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power decided that since her name was too long, it would have to be cut. It was the only way out. I'll cut it for you, said the butcher, and her name became Salami, which he cut in very thin slices and wrapped in paper. I'll do it quickly. You won't feel a thing, murmured the executioner. It's too long. Cut, shouted the director. These people are in her imagination. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power woke up in a sweat. She wrote out her name on a piece of paper and took a pair of scissors. It must be cut, but where do I start, she wondered. Gwendolyn, it was her grandmother's name. She couldn't do that. Her gran would think she didn't love her anymore. Besides, that part wasn't so bad. No, Gwendolyn was pretty. She could cut Joy then. She couldn't even think of it. Without that, her name would be as boring as a rainy Saturday. Morrison, that was her mother's name. What would Mom say? Would she think her name wasn't important? Power, that was her father's name. Dad would say, absolutely not. You cannot cut the power like that. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power began coloring her name all sorts of colors. Then she cut the paper into tiny pieces and threw them up into the air. She comforted herself with the thought that if her name were shorter, it wouldn't make such a beautiful shower of confetti. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power is now in the second grade. Her name looks much shorter in handwriting. Sometimes it still stubbornly refuses to fit on a piece of paper, but she has learned a new word, verso. Jonathan Bain has grown up even more. He is now her friend. Just the other day, he slipped a crumpled message into her notebook. Gwendolyn Joy Morrison Power is as pretty as a flower. That is hilarious. That's the end of the book. What? She learned a new word, verso. What does that mean? I guess she's just okay with it. And then the bully's okay with it too. Happily ever after. Nice. That was a book. Alright, Bubs. Well, thank you for listening to that story. Crazy, crazy story. Make sure you're good, not bad. And I love you.